Subscribe because it is free and it motivates us to make more videos. The galaxy stretches wide and serene, a tapestry of glittering stars and gentle worlds, cradling life as delicate as a whisper. Across this vast expanse, the Council of Stars reigns, a coalition of species so fragile they tremble at the thought of a storm. Their planets hum with harmony, soft winds, shallow seas, and skies unscarred by fury. To them, life is a quiet dance, a balance of peace and predictability. But then there are the Deathworlds, rare cursed rocks where existence is a war against nature itself. These are places the galaxy fears, planets whispered about in hushed tones, their names synonymous with chaos and ruin. And among them, one stands apart, a nightmare even among nightmares: Earth. Earth is no cradle, it's a crucible. Its surface churns with violence, a relentless assault of extremes that would shatter the Council's fragile kin. Towering mountains spew molten rock, oceans rage with waves that swallow land whole, and winds howl like predators hunting prey. The ground itself trembles, splitting open to devour anything foolish enough to linger. Life here doesn't thrive, it fights. Every creature is a warrior, armed with claws, fangs, or cunning, locked in a brutal contest where survival is the only prize. Predators stalk jungles thick with thorns, while storms of ice and fire scour the plains. Disease festers in the air, a silent killer striking without mercy. To the galaxy, Earth is a monster factory, a place that breeds abominations too savage to comprehend. From this hellscape emerged humans, forged in the fires of a world that hates them. They didn't evolve. They clawed their way up step by bloody step. Their bodies tell the story. Endurance to outlast starvation, muscles to wrestle beasts, and minds sharp enough to turn sticks into spears. They're predators, yes, with eyes that lock forward and teeth that tear flesh. But they're more than that. They're stubborn, refusing to die when logic demands it. A volcano erupts. They rebuild. A flood drowns their homes. They swim. A plague cuts them down. They bury the dead and keep going. Where the galaxy's species would flee or fade, humans dig in, adapt, and conquer. They laugh in the face of despair, a sound that would chill alien blood if they heard it. This resilience isn't graceful. It's raw, messy, and terrifying. Humans eat what they kill, cracking bones for marrow while the Council sips nutrient broths. They scar their skin with purpose, marking victories over a world that wants them gone. Their history is a litany of war, not just against nature, but each other, honing their aggression into a weapon. To them, survival isn't a gift, it's a challenge, a dare they meet with bared teeth and clenched fists. The galaxy doesn't understand this. To the Council, life is cooperation, a symphony of mutual aid. To humans, it's a brawl, and they're the last ones standing when the dust settles. Earth didn't raise them, it tempered them, hammering out weakness until only strength remained. And then they reached the stars. The galaxy wasn't ready. Whispers spread first, carried on trade routes and diplomatic channels. A new species had crawled out of a death world, their ship a patchwork of metal and madness. The Council of Stars convened, their many eyes wide with dread. What kind of creature could survive a place like Earth? The rumors grew wilder, tales of beings who thrived on chaos, who walked through fire and called it home. Some called them demons, others a plague waiting to spread. The truth was worse. They were real, and they were coming. No one knew what to expect, but the fear was unanimous. A death world had birthed something unstoppable, and the galaxy braced for impact. That impact came swiftly. A human vessel limped into Council space, leaking fuel and trailing debris, yet still alive. Its crew emerged, upright despite wounds that would have felled any other species. The delegation sent to meet them recoiled. Those teeth, that stare, the sheer audacity of their presence. Words were exchanged, but the message was clear. Earth's monsters had arrived, and they didn't bow to anyone. The galaxy watched, holding its breath, as the council debated what to do with these untamed things. Quarantine, exile, study. No, one could agree, but all felt the same unease. Something primal had entered their orderly world, and it wouldn't be contained. So the stage was set, not with fanfare, but with tension thick as a storm cloud. Humans stood at the edge of the galaxy, products of a planet that tried to kill them and failed. They carried its lessons in their bones: adapt, endure, overcome. The council saw only the surface, the savagery, the scars, and trembled. They didn't see the spark beneath, the potential waiting to ignite. Not yet. For now, humans were the Deathworld's gift, a riddle wrapped in terror, and the galaxy had no idea what they'd unleashed. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. A human ship, battered and leaking, drifted into council space, a relic of desperation held together by grit and ingenuity. Its hull was patched with scavenged metal, its engines coughed like a dying beast. Yet it moved forward, defiant. The council sent a delegation, a cluster of slender, feathered beings with eyes too wide and limbs too frail. They expected survivors, perhaps refugees begging for mercy. Instead, humans stepped out, tall, scarred and unbowed. Their voices rasped with exhaustion, but their gaze burned with something alien. Hunger, not fear. The delegation froze. Those, teeth sharp and predatory, flashed in greeting. Those hands, calloused and strong, gripped tools that could double as weapons. The humans didn't plead. They demanded coordinates, fuel, a chance to keep going. The galaxy's first impression was terror. Panic followed. The council convened in a flurry of chirps and trills, their delicate counselors recoiling at the footage. Forward-facing eyes, hunters, not prey. Flesh-eaters who boiled the dead for sustenance, beings who laughed at pain instead of fleeing it. The verdict was swift: quarantine. Earth's system was sealed, a cordon of drones and warnings marking it as a forbidden zone. The galaxy couldn't risk these Deathworlders spreading their chaos. But humans don't sit still. Within months, a signal pierced the blockade, a crude, defiant broadcast from a jury-rigged transmitter. Then came the ships, ramshackle but relentless, slipping through gaps with tactics no sane species would try. They flew into asteroid fields, used solar flares as cover, and outlasted pursuers through sheer stubbornness. The quarantine shattered, not with force, but with human refusal to be caged. Word spread fast. Traders whispered of humans trading meat, actual flesh, for tech, their casual savagery unnerving even the boldest merchants. Diplomats reported them shrugging off injuries, stitching wounds with thread and needle, while joking about worse days back home. Soldiers spoke of humans running toward danger, not away, their shouts echoing like war cries from Earth's ancient plains. The galaxy didn't know what to make of it. To the council, cooperation was survival, shared resources, mutual trust. Humans didn't cooperate. They competed, thrived in conflict, and turned scraps into miracles. A scout ship crashed, its crew doomed by a broken reactor. Humans found it, ripped the core apart with bare hands, and rebuilt it into something that flew. The council called it madness. The humans called it Tuesday. Fear hardened into a reputation. They were monsters, plain and simple. Deathworld spawn who defied every rule of civilized life. A diplomat fainted when a human envoy bit into a slab of cooked flesh during talks, grinning as juices dripped. A scientist watched in horror as a human volunteer endured radiation levels that would liquefy most species, then asked for water like it was a minor inconvenience. Children on council worlds were told bedtime stories of Earth's beasts, half warning, half myth, creatures who drank blood, danced in storms, and never stopped moving. The galaxy built walls, literal and figurative, hoping to keep the humans at bay. But walls don't stop what's already inside, and humans were everywhere, bartering, exploring, surviving. Yet amid the dread, a crack appeared. A lone alien, Scout, stranded in a meteor shower, broadcast a final plea as his ship failed. No one answered. Too risky, too far. Then a human vessel, a dented hulk with no business being spaceworthy, roared in. Its crew hauled the Scout aboard, patched his hull with their own spare parts, and sent him back with a gruff, "Stay out of trouble." The Scout told the tale, but the Council dismissed it. Surely a fluke, a trick. Monsters don't save lives, they take them. The galaxy clung to its fear, blind to the flicker of something more. Humans didn't care. They weren't here to prove anything, they were here to live, and no one could stop them. That refusal defined them. Where the galaxy saw chaos, humans saw opportunity. A trade embargo. They smuggled. A hostile zone. They mapped it. A broken engine. They fixed it with wire and spite. The Council's pristine order clashed with humanity's messy vitality, and the friction sparked 1,000 rumors. Some called them a plague, a cancer to be cut out. Others saw a storm, uncontrollable, but vital when aimed right. Neither was wrong, but neither was complete. Humans weren't invaders or saviors. They were survivors, carrying Earth's lessons into the stars. The galaxy didn't understand, couldn't understand, and that gap widened with every encounter. So the humans stood apart, feared and shunned, their every move watched with wary eyes. The Council tightened its grip, hoping to contain the uncontainable. Traders haggled at arm's length, diplomats spoke through screens, and soldiers braced for the worst. Earth's monsters had breached the galaxy's walls, and no one knew what came next. The fear was real, the mistrust deeper still, but beneath it all, a question lingered, unasked, unanswered. What if these Deathworlders weren't just a threat? What if they were something more? The galaxy wasn't ready to face that yet. For now, humans were the unknown, the wild card, and the stars held their breath. The galaxy's fragile peace shattered when the Krovan Empire struck. They came from the rim, a swarm of warships bristling with weapons, their hulls dark as void. The Krovans were conquerors, a species of cold logic and relentless hunger, viewing the Council's gentle worlds as prey. Their fleets carved through defenses like a blade through silk, leaving ash and silence. The Council's forces, sleek, precise, built for show, crumpled. Planets fell in days, their populations too soft to resist. Appeals for unity rang out, but fear paralyzed the galaxy. No one had faced a foe like this, a machine of war that didn't negotiate, didn't tire. The Council begged for time, for strategy, but time was a luxury they didn't have. The Krovans were coming, and no one could stop them. Then the humans moved, not out of duty, no one asked, and they owed nothing. They fought because fighting was in their blood, because a threat this big was a challenge Earth had taught them to meet. Their ships weren't elegant, they were patched hulks, bristling, with weapons bolted on in haste. Their crews weren't trained legions, just stubborn souls who'd survived worse than this. They hit the Krovans like a storm, not with formations but with chaos. Ambush became their art, luring enemy scouts into asteroid belts, then smashing them with salvaged mines. They didn't retreat when outgunned. They rammed, boarded, and turned Krovan ships into graves. The galaxy watched, stunned, as these Deathworlders did what no one else could: slow the tide. The turning point came at Vera Nexus, a star system anchoring the Council's core worlds. The Krovans massed there, a fleet of hundreds poised to strike the heart of civilization. The Council's armada arrived, pristine and proud, only to be shredded in hours. Despair took root. Billions faced annihilation. Then human ships roared in, a ragtag flotilla dwarfed by the enemy. They didn't charge head-on. They danced on the edge, drawing fire while scanning the star. A human engineer, half dead from radiation burns, cracked it. The star's flares could be weaponized. They rigged their reactors to overload, baited the Crovans into position, and triggered a pulse that fried the enemy fleet circuits. Ships drifted, lifeless, as the humans limped away, bleeding but alive. Vara Nexus held, billions survived. The galaxy reeled. Humans had done the impossible, not with superior tech or numbers, but with grit and madness. They fought dirty, endured what should have killed them, and won where others broke. Crovan commanders, unaccustomed to defiance, faltered as human. Raids bled their supply lines dry. A week of endurance runs, humans awake on stimulants chasing shadows, left the enemy ragged. A month of traps, decoys, feints, and sheer audacity cracked their resolve. The Crovans didn't surrender. They retreated, their perfect war machine dented by creatures they couldn't predict. The Council tallied the cost. Millions dead, worlds scarred. But they lived, and humans were why. Recognition came slowly, grudgingly. The Council chambers buzzed with debate, praise clashed with fear. These Deathworlders had saved them, yes, but at what price? Reports flooded in. Humans, tearing into wrecks for parts, laughing as they patched wounds with tape, eating rations that made aliens gag. Their tactics horrified, sacrificing ships as bait, weaponizing their own deaths. A councillor called them saviors. Another called them a curse waiting to turn. Gratitude mingled with dread. They'd seen humans thrive in chaos, shrug off losses that would cripple others, and it chilled them. The galaxy needed them, but trusting them felt like handing a blade to a beast. Humans didn't wait for thanks. They salvaged what they could, bartered with stunned traders, and vanished back to their edges. No speeches, no demands, just a nod to the survivors and a promise to return if needed. The Council offered medals. They took fuel instead. Their logs told the story. Crovans hit hard. We hit harder. Job's done. No heroics, just survival, the same game they'd played on Earth. The galaxy saw monsters wielding courage, but humans saw instinct honed by a world that never let them rest. They'd fought because standing still meant dying, and they didn't die easy. The Crovan threat lingered, a shadow on the rim, but the galaxy breathed again. Vara Nexus became a name whispered with awe and unease. Humans had tipped the scales, their Deathworld roots bared for all to see. Endurance that outlasted machines, ingenuity that turned trash into triumph, aggression that met force with force. The Council couldn't ignore it. These monsters had claws, but they'd use them to protect. Not out of love, not yet, but because it was there to do. The galaxy stood at a crossroads, staring at the humans it feared, wondering what they'd become next. The galaxy settled into an uneasy new rhythm after the Crovans retreated. Humans didn't vanish, they spread, their presence inescapable. Trade hubs buzzed with their ships patched and roaring, bartering salvage tech for supplies. Council worlds, once sealed to them, opened gates cautiously, accepting human goods with trembling hands. Their Deathworld gifts flowed outward, medicines brewed from Earth's poisons, engines that ran on scraps, tools forged from necessity. Aliens marveled at the ingenuity even as they flinched at its source. A trader might haggle over a human-made scanner, praising its precision, then whisper of the blood-soaked planet that birthed it. Gratitude existed, but it came with a leash. Humans were useful, not welcome. The galaxy needed their strength, not their shadow. That shadow loomed large. Humans were still monsters in the galaxy's eyes, their heroism a thin veneer over something primal. Council archives catalogued their deeds at Vara Nexus. Bravery undeniable, methods unthinkable. They'd saved billions, yet tales lingered of humans scavenging wrecks while the dead floated nearby, of laughter amid carnage. Aliens couldn't reconcile it. Saviors who acted like beasts. A child on a council world might clutch a toy ship, modeled after a human craft, dreaming of heroes while parents warned of the teeth behind the tale. Legends grew, half truth, half fear, of Deathworlders who danced with danger and won. The galaxy leaned on them, but never too close, like warming hands over a fire they couldn't trust. One human voice cut through the noise, a soldier's, log crackling over a salvaged comms unit. Earth was mud and teeth when I left it. Fought my way off. Floods, beasts, the lot. Stars weren't much different. Krovans hit, we hit back. Lost half my crew at Vara, patched the rest with wire and curses. Galaxy calls us heroes now, but I've seen their eyes. Same look my old man gave a wolf he couldn't shoot. We're tired, sure, but we don't stop. Built this far, might as well keep going. His words carried no pride, just fact. Earth's lessons etched into every breath. Survival wasn't glory, it was habit. The galaxy heard and shivered. Humans kept moving, restless as ever. They carved outposts on shattered moons, mined asteroids the Council deemed too risky, and traded with species too rough for polite company. Their ships dotted the stars, a patchwork fleet that defied logic and gravity. Where the galaxy sought order, humans brought edge, raw, unpolished, alive. They didn't fit, and that was their power. A Krovan remnant struck a border world. Human. Freelancers drove it off before the Council could blink, then vanished with the loot. A plague swept a trade lane. Human medics, scarred and gruff, stemmed it with cures no one else dared touch. The galaxy learned to call when it bled, and humans answered, not for thanks but because they could. That duality defined them. Monsters, who saved, heroes who scared. The Council debated their place. Some pushed for alliance, others for exile. But humans didn't wait for permission. They built, fought, lived, dragging the galaxy along whether it liked it or not. Their legacy wasn't clean. It was scratched into the stars with dirty hands. Aliens told stories, the Deathworlders who turned a star into a weapon, who outlasted machines with flesh and will. Fear lingered, but so did awe. A counselor, voice trembling, admitted it. They're not us, they're more. The galaxy couldn't tame them, but it couldn't let them go either. And the horizon stretched wide. Humans looked beyond the rim, past the Krovans, past the Council's neat borders. Their ships rattled with ambition, crews swapping tales of Earth's storms and plotting new ones among the stars. They carried their home in their bones, its fury, its fight, and it drove them forward. A young human, barely grown, stood on a deck overlooking a nebula, her breath fogging the glass. Earth tried to kill us, she said to no one. Made us ready for this. The galaxy watched them go, half hoping they'd falter, half knowing they wouldn't. Threats loomed out. There, empires, voids, unknowns, but humans met them with the same fire that beat Earth into submission. So they rose, not as gods or kings, but as something fiercer, survivors turned legends. The galaxy leaned on their chaos, their courage, even as it feared their roots. Deathworld monsters, yes, but heroes when it mattered. Their story wasn't done. It burned brighter with every step, a flame no one could snuff out. The stars waited, vast and unyielding, and humans answered with a grin, ready, always ready, to face what came next.